welcome to the Inspired Riding Podcast. I'm your host, Beth Lauren Parrish. As a certified riding instructor, remote coach, and animal communicator, I bridge the gap between your inner and outer worlds as you strive to enhance all aspects of your riding. I'm here to remind you that you are powerful and more than capable of changing your reality with your horse time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Inspired Riding interview series. I'm so excited to be here again with you. And I'm extremely excited because we have an amazing guest today, Susan Tenney. And I'm going to let her introduce herself. And let's just take a nice deep breath together first. Let's breathe in, breathe out, sending you all tons of love. And if you're here watching live, please let us know. All right, Susan, please take it away.
Thanks so much, Beth. I'm so excited to be here for your amazing group. I've been kind of peeking around to your community in the past couple of days since we hooked up. And wow, you're doing amazing things here. So I'm very honored to be here to talk to all of you, because all of you do what I love best in the world, and that is to help horse lovers and animal lovers in general, not only connect with their animals and do, live their best lives with them, but I also teach animal acupressure. And I have been doing this for 30 years. And I both adore teaching kind of total beginners who have never seen acupressure ever before. And we also have a certification program where we can take aspiring professionals and turn them into having their dream job. So lots of things that we've been doing.
That's fantastic. I'm so glad you do that. And I'm sure so many humans and horses are appreciative of all that you offer. So
it's one of those pinch me jobs. Like, do I really get to do this for my work? We've all had those crappy jobs, I was a waitress for years, those kinds of things. And then you go, I can do this as my profession. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing.
I love that. It's so good. So I'm going to start with a really fun question. If someone handed you $10 million right now, what would you do with it?
Well, it would be pretty exciting, wouldn't it? I mean, I think we'd all love $10 million. And I'm going to kind of skip the ideas of make world peace or social justice or, all of those wonderful things, because that's obvious, right? But what I would also love to do is to do two things. So I'm going to cheat. And one would be to put acupressure in the hands of absolutely every animal lover that exists and let them know that they can do it. One of our mottos is, if you can pat your animal, you can do acupressure. Mm-hmm. So I would really just blast that out to the world. But the other thing that I would really focus on is also making horses available to everyone. Mm-hmm. And I know that there are places where horses are really seen as kind of a luxury or, something that's unobtainable. And I'm really inspired by programs. There's a lot in the States right now and also in Europe that are reaching out and creating accessibility to horses, to young people who might otherwise not have that access. We even now we support a program at the Kentucky Horse Park where they take our curriculum and they offer it to the kids that are coming in for a 1 week summer camp with horses. And what is amazing about that is not only do the horses change their lives, because it's such an amazing experience, but the teachers, who are some of our students, are saying that this is the part of the curriculum that the students love best of all, because it teaches them it gives them that sense of connection and that specialness that they can make a difference. And so I would take this program and put it everywhere, everywhere. So
that's fantastic.
That's what I would do.
Well, when I have my big facility, I would love for you to have the program there too. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We're it's only at the Kentucky Horse Park now, which is a pretty cool place to have it. It's a pretty fabulous facility, but we are definitely wanting to spread this out as kind of our give back to the community. And it's powerful. It's powerful.
Oh, so exciting. I love that. What a brilliant answer. Thank you, Susan.
It was fun.
Okay, can you talk about what inspired you to get into what you do?
Yeah. So I mentioned those waitress jobs. Like, I was one of those people that came out of, the, high-end college, big, dreams, whatever, and knew that what I'd studied, which was art history, unusable topic, right? So I did a lot of kind of searching and traveling and, crap jobs for, a good almost 10 years. And I knew that there was something waiting for me. And so I started dreaming of horses every single night. I hadn't ridden for about 10 years after having to stop riding kind of late in high school years due to an injury. And so I was like, what am I dreaming about, And what was amazing is my now husband, he was my new boyfriend at the time, was like, oh, here's your next profession. I found it in a book. You're going to be a horse massage therapist. I'm like, you can't get paid to do horse massage. Like, what are you talking about? He said, no, it's right here in this book. You can go do it. Here's a program. You can go do it. So, of course, I researched it and I was like, oh my God, he's right. I can actually have this as my dream profession. So it's all his fault. And it has been an amazing thing because it blends the horses that I have loved since I can't even remember when, with the aspect of practicing the healing arts, helping people, making horses thrive. It's pretty wonderful stuff.
That's amazing. And I'm so glad your husband found that.
Oh, absolutely. He's a keeper. He's definitely a keeper. Because he's one of those. He knows.
I love that. I've got one too. We're very blessed.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, we are.
Do you have or have you ever had a heart horse? And if so, what made them special?
Well, I had two horses when I was growing up. I did have two horses in my life. They weren't my horses. They were the horses at the place where I was riding. And they were really special because not only were they magnificent creatures, just really special souls, but it was really special as, I think a lot of us are kind of geeky or awkward or, whatever. And when I was riding those horses or caring for those horses, I felt like the world, and it's not only that you're riding on their back, but it's that feeling of power and energy and flying and magic. So I kind of credit them with, I was already hooked, but of making it a lifelong dream. Those two, one was Lady and one was Tinker. And I was really fortunate because as one of the higher level students in that women's program, I was able to ride, the owner's horse, like, woo, that felt like, oh, I guess I'm doing okay. Yes. But the truth is that I haven't had a heart horse, I think, in the way most of your people will, because I have not really owned horses much in my adult life, just short times with horses that were just kind of in between places. And so what I feel like I do more, to be honest, is help people with their heart horses. And we have certain ways that we look at connection and relationship and how to help our horses really thrive, that I feel like I've got that with the clients and students that we help. So it's not the same. It's not the same, but it's pretty darn good. Pretty good.
Well, as I love to hear people say, spirit is spirit. So when you connect from the heart, it can
Absolutely.
be taking on any form, right?
Absolutely. And it's like, I remember when I was able to go back, I went back to the barn that I rode those two horses at as an adult, and I hadn't been there in, I don't know, 20, 30 years. It was a long time. And, you burst into tears just from the smell. Yes. Just from that smell, and oh yeah, it's in you. It's your heart. It's your soul.
Yeah, I call it coming home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're connecting as soon as you're on their back. It's just around them.
Absolutely.
Their energy field is so big; they just hug you when you get close.
Yeah, it's magical. It's totally magical.
What's something you wish you had known from the start of your horse journey?
Well, kind of on that end of things, I think, I had, like so many of us, I had all the parents that are like, oh yes, riding is fine for you when you're a little girl, but when are you going to grow out of it? Well, I'm almost 60 and I haven't grown out of it yet, right? But there's that feeling that, it's not something you can do for work, or only a small amount can do for work. And I felt like, I've got to get up, grow up and do grown up things. And I think if I had known that being of service to horses and horse people, if I had known at 16 that could be something that I could have pursued, I would have started even earlier, because the passion was there. I was obsessed 100% with horses. And we do work with dogs and cats and other animals, but horses were definitely what brought me here. And if I had understood fully that there is so much that we can do without being like a, FEI level rider or trainer, those are not my skills. I mean, I can ride, but I am not. I'm not going to train people how to do that. So that was a really powerful thing to me, is to realize, anybody, we've taught people who have never ridden horses, and they come to this work I've had students start in their 60s and 70s, and they do great. They don't have to be a horse expert in order to participate in this magical relationship that we have with horses and their caretakers, that's pretty special.
That's beautiful. And it's so nice to have these ever evolving humans that want to keep learning and have that insatiable desire. I know
100%.
Most of everyone in this group is like that. So
oh yeah,
I love them so much.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So how do you stay inspired on your horse journey?
Well, I mean, that's pretty easy, right? It's a mixture of seeing the results in the horses, like seeing a horse go into what we call AccuTrance, like you've done just one acupressure point, you've never done them before, and you do that point, and literally the nose goes down so far, so close to the ground, that you can see the shavings from their nostrils.
Oh, wow.
Well, I did something. I mean, that's pretty inspiring to know that you can have that level of benefit that you can give back to your horse. So it's not just, what is my horse going to give me? Are they going to give me this ride? Are they going to give me that, whatever move you want them to do, or that level of jump? This is something you can actually give back. So that's inspiring to know that we can really empower people with that. And I will also say the thing that keeps me inspired is I'm a Chinese medicine nerd. So give me more wild and crazy stuff about meridians and energy and point theory and all this stuff. I mean, people tease me because I'll like cuddle up with a good book, and it's like a textbook this thick about Chinese medicine. And it's just what I love. So that's easy.
That's fantastic. I love that. And I love that the horses just give you that instant biofeedback. It's just so
completely. And, if I was sitting and reading all that theory and getting inspired because it sounded so cool, but I couldn't get the results, that wouldn't be inspiring.
Right.
What's inspiring is to be able to take what sounds like magic, what sounds like alchemy, and how could this possibly be true that I'm going to touch this place on the horse's body and they're going to have this big transformation? How is that possible? I mean, I could go and explain how it's possible, but you know what I mean.
Right.
But to see it in action, and however much I love doing it, because I mean, it's a powerful feeling for yourself, but to watch other people be able to do it for themselves, for their animals, that's inspiring. That is seriously inspiring.
Yeah, because you see it light up and then you're empowering them. And then
totally.
You know that they're getting that same gorgeous feeling, helping their horses. Yeah. That's so cool.
And we often laugh because the students often come to us thinking like, I love horses, but I'm not so crazy about people. So I want to be a horse massage therapist or an acupressure therapist because I like animals better. And they think they're coming for the animals. They think they're coming because that touch that they are going to do is going to change horses' lives. And it does. Mm-hmm. We don't tell them. We're kind of quiet about the fact that you're going to transform completely, top to bottom, front to back, everywhere. It transforms us. And, those of us, I'm sure you feel this way, Beth, is that those of us that are working in this field, we know that like you're paying us to receive the therapy, because we're there doing the acupressure, but we're getting the energy too. We're getting to be in the field of all that great alignment juju. It's the best.
I literally see the figure 8 all the time in the energetics, like the giving and the receiving back and forth.
Exactly.
It's the coolest feeling. Yeah.
It is. It's magical. And not only does it kind of go back and forth, and it does, but it gets wider each time. So it ripples out. So it's, it becomes this massive sense of influence where you are influencing not only that animal and yourself, but the other people in your lives. It just keeps going. And I mean, that's pretty powerful magic.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I'm sure those people who said they really don't like people at that, I'm sure shifts as well to realize, you know what? Some humans are actually okay. Actually, I have a bigger empathy button now. And it's interesting how things shift like that when they start to learn these things. 100%.
And, when people get into this work, sometimes I'm not talking about people that are taking it on casually, but people that really dive in full on. A lot of times there's a messy phase, like there's this initial inspiration, and then there's a really, really messy phase. And I'm in there, where things have to break down a little bit first before they build up into the new phase. And that can be interesting, but it transforms us top to bottom. So it's powerful work.
I totally agree. And that happened without a doubt. With many years of my teaching career. So, yes. And it still happens, and I'm still okay, what else do I need to learn today? So,
yeah. I mean, I think there are definitely people who are clinicians or whatever, and I can't think of any in the healing space, but I'm thinking of like there's certain trainers and people who are maybe a little more ego based, and they're, it's kind of like I've made it, and so I'm now going to disseminate what I've learned. But the rest of us, which is most of us, I think, because the horses keep making sure that we do, is we keep getting humbled. Anytime that we think we've like figured it out, we just laugh, like the horses, it's like the horses are, spirit horses are looking down like, oh, well, let me give you this instead. We'll just make that a little chaotic for a while and see what you learn. And it keeps us humble. It keeps us learning, and it keeps us reminding our students as well. Like, I am not perfect. I have figured out these pieces, but what are you going to teach me about those pieces or those pieces so that we can all come together and learn from each other?
Absolutely. And I need to share a little story that happened this morning because of something I learned from you in the presentation last week.
Cool.
So Susan had explained the different element types of horses, and one of them particularly is one that I resonate with most, of course, is earth, because they are very much the lesson horse. And my pepper pony, he's earth with, I think, a bit of fire and perhaps some wood, but mostly earth and fire. He does toss his head a lot.
Yes.
So the earth sign, the earth element basically is a steady eddy, until you get to a point where they've had enough. And they have concrete feet, is what you were saying. And that absolutely happened today. And I literally looked around and I said out loud, I've run out of quarters. Pepper, come on. He's like, nope. Until he was ready. And then he was ready. And then he was like, okay, things have shifted. We're going. And then I had the most beautiful canter work I've had in months with him.
Exactly.
But I had to stay patient and be joyful and a little bit silly with him and not get frustrated. And it was amazing. Beautiful. So I just needed to share that with you because
I love that story. I love that story because that's actually, we all have parts of our curriculum, the things that we teach that we feel particularly passionate about. And I will say I have a real feeling about the earth horse. So the earth horse is so smart and so capable and so giving and caring and loving. And this is just one of these types that I teach about. And, we're not going to have time to go into all of that. But the point is that these animals learn a little slower and they learn super methodically.
Yes.
And if you have a different learning style, and so you want to just rush at them, like, here's all the thing, and why can't you do it yet? And like, all my other horses can, and you're a loser because, I mean, I know people in your group aren't coming from there, but
No.
we all know that, we all know that impatience. And when you give that earth horse the chance to breathe, they kind of need to digest things a little. They need to kind of like, oh, this one little tiny bit, if you let me get that one little tiny bit and lock it in, it will be mine forever, and I'll never forget it. And it's, for example, the Tellington Jones, the teamwork, they really specialize in that. And bravo for them, because they're teaching people there's no hurry here.
No. Yeah.
Like, if it takes you an extra week to teach that little piece, but they have it for the rest of their lives.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so that waiting and that patience and that caring, knowing that these animals, we call them the good as gold type, because they are worth their weight in gold. And so when we honor that, it is a game changer, and realizing it has to do with our attitude, our ability to teach in their way instead of trying to teach in our pace, which is irrelevant. That's completely irrelevant to that horse.
Exactly. I'm so glad you said that. And that's actually principle number 1 for inspired riding is slow down.
Slow down. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's true for all of the elements, but it's particularly true for the earth. And if you give them that time, they'll give you the world, which is why we have the school ponies that, put up with all the crap that they do. And we love them for it, but it's a big ask for them to put up with us as, 6-year-olds that don't know what we're doing. And so, bless them.
They're amazing. They're amazing. Yeah. Okay. So if you had a magic wand, what would you change in the horse world?
Ooh, so many things. And again, there are lots of things that I could rant about, but whatever. One of my big things, like I said, was accessibility. And so accessibility would be a really big thing. I would have every little kid, no matter where they're from, I would have horse stables in the middle of New York City, so that every child had access, because
I used to teach in there in the middle of New York City.
I actually rode a horse in Central Park once. I don't know if they still have that.
They have that one. I used to work at the indoor arena at Chelsea Piers at the end of 23rd, and now the Mounted Police took it over. But it was there right before 9/11, and I was there for almost a year. It was an amazing place. But again, accessibility. It was the little kids from Fifth Avenue with their nannies bringing them. They paid $110 an hour. I got 20 out of that.
Yeah.
For the lessons.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable, the expense. So if you had that, but have every child have the opportunity to be in a program, oh my gosh.
Yeah. When I think of my childhood and what horses did for me, all of those, and I would sound like some cliche broken record, like, oh, it teaches you responsibility, but it does, it teaches us to be good people, to want to be outside, to want to help something else outside of ourselves. Having accessibility, I think it's a huge piece, and it's not entirely out of reach. We can do better. Is it going to be perfect? No, but we can do better. And I'm excited about that. So magic wand, it's everywhere,
Let it be so.
There it is. I saw that in your photos. That was so perfect.
That's my Luna Lovegood from Harry Potter replica.
I love it. Luna's my favorite, by the way. When I saw you said that, I'm like, Luna's my favorite.
We are kindred spirits.
We are. I almost named one of my cats after Luna because.
Oh, so awesome. Okay, so along those lines, what would you write on a billboard so that the whole horse world could see?
I would write that touch is transformation.
I love it.
Because touch, we all need to touch each other. And in part of that is the physical level. Like, we are piezoelectric beings, which when I touch the skin, I change the biochemistry of the body. So that's powerful in and of itself. But touch is also on an energetic and an emotional and a spiritual level. And so when we, like, oh, I feel really touched that you said that, we use that word touch to also mean non-tactile experiences. And so for me, touch is transformation, and it allows us to transform in ways that are healthier, that are more loving, that are more connected, because touch also has that feeling of connection. Because you're either connecting to an ideal or you're connecting to a person or an animal. And so to me, it transforms everything in the best ways, not always the most comfortable ways at every moment,
Sure,
but really the best ways.
I love that so much. I'm going to make the billboard for you in Canva. So
love it. I want it.
Everyone gets that who's on the interview series. All right. So now we're going back to the typing of horses. Do you have any tips on how to type your horse if you're not quite sure which one is more dominant?
Yeah. So there are these 5 types. And I think the tendency, certainly in my early years in this work, my tendency is to categorize an animal, to say like, this is a wood horse or this is an earth horse. And that's still valid. When you say that one of these types is predominant in your animal, it's real. I mean, it's definitely there. But I think the biggest thing to remember is that all 5 of these types are in the animal at all times. It's just concentration levels.
Right.
And so I think people get really worried that, well, maybe I'll get the type wrong, because we're always worried about being wrong or not enough or these kinds of things. But the truth is, no matter where you start, acupressure is so forgiving that, let's say you start with a quote unquote wrong one, the one that I, as a professional, if I came in, wouldn't start with. If you do that, the only thing you're doing is making that less out of balance one feel better, so that there's more energy for the one that's still there and really does need the extra support. So you can't go wrong.
I love that.
You cannot. It's all in there. It's like, these 5 types are in there, just as I have a heart and a liver and a spleen. I have all of those types within me. It's just that my heart might need a little extra help, whereas somebody else's liver might need a little help. That's fine. That's fine. But, we are going to finally, it's been taking us 30 years, we're about to release a 5-element quiz that we will have so that people can go through the quiz and get some really good ideas of at least where to start. So that's coming within the next couple of months. It's halfway done. We're there.
That's awesome. I know how challenging quizzes are, because that's actually on my app as well.
Yeah. It's, I think people love that interactive part, but it also helps clarify. We need that clarification to at least know where to start and to understand you don't have to have the perfect answer here. There is no right or wrong, but you do want guidance on where to start. And so, that will be there soon.
Oh, please keep us posted when it's ready.
Oh, happy to.
We'll share that. Yes.
But I think the thing to really kind of keep in mind, again, is you can't go wrong. So just get started. And what happens is, what we talk about in Chinese medicine is about how if you are a Western medical doctor, you have blood tests, you have x-rays, you have MRIs. That's how you test things to decide what you're going to do. Well, the way that I, as a practitioner of Chinese medicine, test things is I get a hypothesis, just like any old scientist, and I go and I test it out by using certain points. And if I get crappy results, then I know, okay, it's not that, so I'm going to go over here and try this instead. And so I think we feel like we have to be perfect. Nonsense. We just have to get started, and the horse will show us. It will unravel right there in front of us, so we can see, like, this bud will unfurl, and we will have better insight, better clarity about how to help our horses. And it's always changing too. You know how I talked about that transformation? I mean, just because your horse is showing you the wood element today doesn't mean that, a month from now, after you fix some wood stuff, what was actually underneath that maybe was some earth or, whatever. Right. And so that process means that you cannot do wrong. You can only help more effectively or maybe a little less effectively, but you're still helping.
That's so encouraging. I love that. And that answered my second question. Like, what if you get the wrong points?
Yeah,
you got it.
There are no wrong points.
So what's been the biggest transformation you've experienced with your work?
Well, we have some pretty amazing stories, but I was kind of reflecting on that when you sent me the questions ahead of time, and there are two stories that kind of stand out as ones that really kind of put my chin on the floor. So one was a translator of ours when I was teaching in Switzerland, and she would do our French translation. And I actually never saw her horse. It was all stuff she did herself. And she took on these 2 points. She's like, my crazy wood mare, who is challenging and aggressive and big story, long story that I will skip. But she did these 2 points on that mare every day, all the time, so much so that a woman who had been away for 6 months and came back to the barn said to her, oh, I saw your new horse in the barn. And she's like, what are you talking about? I don't have a new horse. She goes, yeah, but you got that new horse. Look, she looks entirely different. It's a different horse. She's like, no, it's the same horse. The one that tried to bite your head off every time you walked by her stall door is now this sweet, happy mare who is still who she is, but she's more peaceful with it.
Oh,
so that was amazing.
That's huge.
What's that?
That's huge.
And the other one that I think, and I've had a couple of these, but one kind of I remember they didn't tell me ahead of time, thank God, that I was the last chance for this horse. They had tried everything and everyone to fix everything. And I went and I did a session with this horse, and because she wouldn't allow touch on her hind legs, it just ain't going there. I can't remember what the trauma was, but there was some trauma there. And in one session, I was able to get to where I could basically give her a hug anywhere she wanted.
Oh.
And it took a while, like it wasn't a half-hour session. That was a 3-hour session, which I don't usually do. But that was a horse that was going to be sent to the butcher the next week if it didn't work.
Wow.
And so I didn't know that, thank God. I would not have wanted that on my shoulders when I started the session. But what I knew is that the touch can transform. And that mare never went back. She had put 3 farriers into the hospital with broken bones and organ problems because she kicked them so hard. Wow. She had feet like a elf shoe because they could not trim her. But that one session was the before and after for her entire life. And so it wasn't me. I was using my techniques, and I was using some team techniques, and I was using some massage techniques. It was, I'm good at this, but I was not that. It was that these techniques can be used to have that level of transformation for animals, which, touches the transformation.
Yeah, I just got serious chills.
Yeah, it was amazing. She sent me even a sweatshirt afterward that she had made with like a picture of her horse receiving body work from her. And I'm like, oh my God, because she was able to carry it out. I never saw the horse again. It was, I was a traveling clinician. She was in Germany. I was only there for that one day. But she was able from that point forward to carry out the message of transformation through touch, which she did. It was beautiful.
Oh, what a blessing that connection happened. Yes.
Yeah. No. She did amazing work. It was amazing.
You're amazing. Oh my God.
It's just the work. I just kind of flow in and align with the work that's, it's a legacy of care. Yeah. I really see that Chinese medicine and all of these healing arts that all of us are doing and embracing and making ours, it's kind of like you have this river that's always been there. There's always been healers.
Yes.
We've always existed, even if we're a little outside the fringes there, we're out on the edges. We are a river of practitioners who have been doing this since people were people. And it's been what I kind of feel like is I've stepped into that river. I am just transformed by the legacy of care that has been passed on to me. And I keep inviting all the rest of y'all to come on in the river with me, because it's not me. I mean, I'm good at this, obviously, but it's not me. I'm bringing the message that we are all this.
And you're shining your light so people can see it better. And that's always a beautiful thing.
We have to use that fire element for something good.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness. So let's see. Do you have any online courses or resources that people can access remotely? Because we have a lot of international folks here.
Yeah, so anyone that goes to our website will see we have, like, I don't know, 30 or 40 courses. We have this entire certification program if anyone ever really wants to dive in and make this their practice that they do. And we're always, always excited to have people come and join us. But I think what I'm focusing on right now for people is we're about to start our 2022 series for the energy work. So my husband and I teach energy work. We start with a grounding class, and we teach a very specific meditation that is extremely simple, but absolutely doable. So you can be more grounded when you're training, when you're riding, when you're being with your horse, or when you're just in your life.
Yes.
And that continues through a series of energy work courses that you can buy either just one or the whole series, that in the end allows you to do medical intuition. And so you can kind of do remote viewing of animals and do work with them.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, Susan.
Powerful work. It's super fun. And everybody's like, oh, well, I can't do that. Like, oh, that's exciting. I believe in it, but I can't do that. We show you otherwise. We have yet to have a single person, even the most skeptical, come in and not be able to do the remote reading. So it's pretty exciting stuff. But it's also very practical. The grounding work is practical. The clean out part is practical because you learn how to clear your energy field. And yet it's also really exciting because it does kind of open up entire new vistas. So if anybody's interested in that, we'll be doing a really cool webinar in just a couple weeks on finding your 5-element grounding type. So it's kind of mixing that 5 elements.
Yes.
And so if anybody's curious about that, they come and follow us on social media, primarily Facebook. Facebook is the best place to follow me.
Okay.
Just come find us at Elemental Acupressure, and you'll see we'll have promotion. It'll be up within about 2 days. We're almost there.
Okay, great.
with the webinar info.
I'll add in the show notes all of your links as well. So
great.
We'll have that for everyone to access. Yes.
And I'll also say that, we have a lot of other resources, including, freebies and stuff. So if you have questions about where to start or what you're interested in, just contact me, and I'm always happy to find the right resource for you.
Oh, thank you. That's brilliant. Now, let's see. I remember you had talked about water horses and how they're such an old soul type mystic age. I'm wondering if you have any stories about water horses that touched your life. I know I've got several, but I'd love to hear from you.
I could talk for about 6 days on water horses. Water horses are my jam. Water horses, I would say, if there's something I feel like I understand that I want to give as my legacy to the horse world, it's that water horses are special, but we can understand them. And these are the outliers. These are the horses that are, like a lot of people in your group, I suspect, who are more intuitive. They're more in touch with spirit. They're more energetic. And yet they have complicated histories. They are not simple. They are not easy. They can be the extraordinary performers, like you hear about the kinds that nobody could handle this horse, and then this one person found him and he ended up in the Olympics. So you have the superhero types, but you also have the ones on the other end who are complicated, difficult, inscrutable, like you can't figure out how to fix them. The vet doesn't know what to do. The farrier doesn't know what to do. The trainer doesn't know what to do. The water story helps you understand what to do. And part of that is trusting yourself. It's a huge issue around trusting self and trusting the horse and trusting that relationship between you, which is really hard for people to do. And also abandoning all expectations. You bought the horse, you wanted a Grand Prix dressage horse, and instead you have a horse that can't be ridden. But you know that is your horse. That is the horse that is meant to teach you everything. And so we talk about these water horses as they're the game changers. They are the healers that take us in places that we had no idea that they even existed, these other places. But they teach us that we are powerful, that spirit is powerful, and that connection is possible. And they are disruptive to our lives because it has that messy phase in it.
Yes.
Sorry, but that's the nature of healing, right?
I have a surgery to prove that one.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
But they are also the horses that, when we talk about our heart horse, a lot of times we're talking about the water ones.
Mhm.
They're the ones that we call them the wise mystic for a reason. They are our teachers, and they take us in magical places. So I would say that probably 50% of the people who end up studying with us are there because of a heart horse or a heart dog, that they were a water type that shook things up and were a catalyst for powerful change. And, it's like, I had this one water animal that the woman, came to me, a Swiss client. She said, "Oh, can you come out and work with my horse?" So we're driving out to the barn, and she's describing what's going on with this animal. And she's like, "Yeah, I had this really weird experience," and she was not woo, like so not woo.
Oh gosh.
And she's like, "I had this really weird experience where I hope you don't think I'm crazy, but my horse talked to me, like I got it like in a vision, like." And she said, "I'm supposed to hire like a shiatsu therapist. Isn't that really weird?" And I'm laughing at her because I'm like, "Well, did you know that the form of body work that I do is shiatsu?" She's like, "No," she didn't even know, And we created amazing change with that animal. But it was her. She was the one that actually transformed the most. The animal healed, but it was me coming in and being a catalyst, just as the horse had been a catalyst, that this person changed her entire life because of it. And we are agents. The water element is basically a change agent. And just as water can take any shape or form, it's also a powerful transformative agent, just in chemistry. But it transforms everything. This is why we go to mountain lakes or go to the ocean to get clear and, find our answers. It's because water transforms, and these animals will. And I've got a lot more to say about that, but we'd be here for another day or two.
That's okay. And then speaking of that, is there anything that you want to share that I didn't ask you?
Oh, goodness. This has been so fun. I think that's a pretty good nugget.
Good. I'm so grateful for your time here, and I really hope that maybe one day you'll come back again and
love to.
we can
Absolutely
do more fun things with the Inspired Riders, because we have very similar philosophies. And it's interesting you're talking about, trusting yourself, trusting your horse. These are things I teach in my programs as well. And of course, animal communication. So most of the people in this group understand, when they hear their horses, it's for real. So.
Oh yeah. It's funny. Like I've talked to some I call them very straight, I talk to some very straight groups, and that's fine. I can do that. I can, do all that and start slinging, like scientific studies about touch and acupuncture. I can do that.
Right.
But this is really my jam. Like I think you probably know that you guys are my people. We understand that horses are magical creatures. They are our living unicorns. And how lucky are we that we are in their lives?
Totally. We're so blessed. We're so blessed.
Totally.
Well, Susan, thank you again so much for being here.
My absolute pleasure.
And I'm Sending love to all of you guys again. Thank you for watching, and please put in the comments if you have any questions. I'm sure we can relay them back to Susan and she can answer.
And also, I'm happy if they have questions about, their horses or whatever. I can't do these long. I'm not going to do a session in your group. That's not appropriate. Sure. But if you have, quicker things you want to know, I'm happy to pop in the group over the next couple of days, and I'm happy to help out.
Thank you so much. And then we'll direct everyone to Susan's website so you guys can learn more. And she has some really fun little freebies. I've been watching some of her videos. I think you guys will really like it too. So be sure to check that out. So thank you again. And
thank you so much, Beth.
You're welcome. And may the horse be with you. Oh,
yeah, indeed.
I truly hope you enjoyed that interview as much as I did. Remember to lead with kindness for yourself and for your horse. And if you'd like to learn more about inspired riding, please go to inspiredriding.com. And if you'd like to join the group, you can go to facebook.com/groups/inspired riders. I hope you'll join us. Thanks again for listening, and may the horse be with you always.